This is problem 4 of standard 8GB7, where we're going to apply the Pythagorean theorem to determine an unknown side length in a right triangle, but in this case, it's in a three-dimensional figure. In other words, we're going to be looking for the diagonal. So let's look and see where the diagonal is actually located in here. I'm going to get you a pen. On the back of this rectangular prism, back top to the front bottom, that's our diagonal that we're looking for. When log cabins are being built, cable can be used to ensure the cabin walls are built at 90-degree angles to each other and to the floor. The diagram shows the dimensions of one-room cabin and a dotted line representing the cable. So there's your cable. What length of cable ensures that the cabin walls are at right angles to each other and to the floor? Round to the nearest tenth. So they're asking for the tenth again. Now, when we are dealing with a three-dimensional figure, when we're dealing with a rectangular solid or a rectangular prism, it's like Pythagorean theorem, but it's done this way. Length squared plus width squared plus height squared is equal to diagonal squared. Length is 30 feet, so we're going to substitute 30 in place of the L. The width is 15 feet, so we're going to substitute 15 in place of the W. The height is 8 feet, so we're going to substitute 8 in place of the H. And we're looking for our diagonal squared. With your calculator, find 30 squared. Put in 30, square it, or either say 30 times 30, and you get 900. So we're going to substitute 900 in place of 30 squared. 15 squared. In your calculator, go 15 squared, or 15 times 15, and you get 225. So let's substitute 225 in place of 15. And 8 squared, you should know, 8 squared would be 64. That's equal to D squared. Now, let's add up these numbers, collect like terms. 900 plus 225 plus 64. That gives you 1,189. So we're going to substitute 1,189 in place of the 900 plus 225 plus 64. And that's going to be equal to diagonal squared. We're not looking for a diagonal squared. We're looking for just the D, just a diagonal. So let's take the square root of it to get just D here. What we do to one side, we have to do to the other on an equal sign. So let's take the square root of 1,189. If you have a TIX 30x 2s, put in second function, square root 1,189 equal, and it should give you D is equal to 34.482. But it wants us to the nearest tenth. That means we find our tenth spot. We look at the digit behind it. The digit behind it is 8. Remember, 4 or less, let it rest. 5 or more, raise the score when you're trying to decide on rounding. In this case, the number behind your tenth space is 8. So that means that we're going to take this number here in the tenth space and we're going to raise it up one spot. Our diagonal then would be 34.5 feet. 34.5 feet. And that shows you how to do three-dimensional Pythagorean theorem to find the diagonal.